And I now call upon the Honorable Deputy Prime Minister and Minister for Tourism and Civil Aviation, the Honorable Vilame Gavoka. You have the floor, sir.
Honorable Speaker, sir, Honorable Prime Minister, Honorable Leader of the Opposition, Members of Parliament, members of the media, fellow Fijians. Mr. Speaker, sir, thank you for allowing me to take the floor to deliver my statement in support of the 2023-2024 national budget. In acknowledgement, Mr. Speaker, sir, I would like to start by first acknowledging the leadership of the Honorable Prime Minister. We have had a coalition government for some time, so to have a strong and experienced leader has been instrumental in achieving all that we have, including the 2023-2024 national budget that is before this House. I would also like to commend Honorable Professor Biman, my fellow Deputy Prime Minister, and the Minister for Finance, the Permanent Secretary and team at the Ministry of Finance. I thank them not only for delivering an exceptional budget, but for doing it in consultatively and on time. At this juncture, I can see the strategy of the other side, and that is to attack Honorable Dr. Biman Prasad. But last time I checked, he's made of steel, and all that will be futile, Honorable Speaker. Personally for me, Honorable Speaker, I salute the political will with the coalition government to write off tails and bring relief to some 53,700 youth or 53,700 families. And we don't care, and we are not worried on the makeup of the 53,000, whether they are Indo-Fijians or Itoke or others. It is for all the young men and women of this nation. And Honorable Speaker, providing scholarship to the extent that we have in this budget is unprecedented in the history of this country. $148 million, Honorable Speaker, is being allocated for scholarships. You will know, Honorable Speaker, that from that side of the House, I spoke about this, campaigned for this, write off tails, provide free tertiary, and this scholarship is almost equal to free tertiary, Honorable Speaker. And this side of the House, at that time, Honorable Speaker, is to ask, where are you going to get the money from? We can do it. So let the whole country know that the coalition government has the political will to lift the burden from the men and women of this country and also provide almost unlimited scholarships going forward. Honorable Speaker,
say thank you for now. Say thank you.
The backdrop of the budget was not easy for many reasons, and it's important we acknowledge them. Of course, there's the obvious managing expectations, but we made a collective commitment for change for the sake of our people, and we will see to it that we deliver. Honorable Speaker, while the pandemic is over, its socio-economic impacts remain. This was the gravity of it. We are still challenged by the repercussions of growing geopolitical conflict, increasing cost of living, commodity prices, and a fragile supply chain. On the domestic front, there was, of course, poor financial management by the previous administration. So much so that this government, its citizens, and the generations to come is inheriting an unsustainable debt. The irony here is that for the last decade and a half, the other side of the House at almost every sitting claimed they were inheriting a failed public system. But in those years, Honorable Speaker, you would think they made an effort to move this nation forward. They did not. Instead, you have a public debt of close to $10 billion, almost the size of the economy and about a quarter of this budget, a burden that this government is now inheriting. Mr. Speaker, sir, ultimately, our job as government is to provide incessant services to villages who are yet to receive steady water and electricity, upgrade our deplorable medical facilities, allow quality education, create jobs, and provide our most vulnerable with better social protection. At the same time, we need to spur economic activity by easing the regulatory environment to encourage investments, look at new areas of growth such as ICT sector, and investing in tourism marketing to remain competitive. That essentially, Mr. Speaker, means striking a balance between supporting the socio-economic well-being of our people with the pressure of cost of living and investing in decent jobs and economic security. On the economic state, Mr. Speaker, sir, as the Minister of Finance has shared, we are looking at an 8% economic growth. 8%, Honorable Speaker. There is to be this boast from the other side of economic growth that was highly inflated. In actual fact, it was only 3% if you average it out. 3%, Honorable Speaker, but today we're letting the nation know that it'll be hovering around 8% this year under the coalition government. Fueled by the strong recovery of the tourism sector and the positive flow on impacts to other sectors of the economy. This essentially means we are returning to pre-pandemic levels. This is great news, but our socio-economic objectives are much greater than returning to what once was. There is no doubt that we will have as many visitors to our shores as we did in 2019, if not more. But that's not a measure of success, Honorable Speaker. The budget focuses on rebuilding our future together. It is, in all its essence, the foundation of this budget and those to come. It considers macroeconomic stability, financial sustainability, and accountability. Mr. Speaker, sir, in my maiden speech, I said that we, as the People's Coalition government, made a commitment to rid this nation of false promises that our people have been beholden to for far too long. We made a commitment not just to hear, but to listen and act. We will no longer pass overnight legislations that take away the rights of the indigenous in the name of investments. We will no longer rob our people of freedom of expression in the name of media safety. We will no longer deny Fijians the right to be represented and heard. This is democracy. So as you have heard in this House and seen, we delivered on what we owed our people immediately, such as reinstating jobs, convening stronger, more meaningful dialogue, and moving past grudges that cost us our education and our friendship with the Pacific. Today, Honorable Speaker, I hear about Polytech. Polytech is very simple, Honorable Speaker. It replaces the technical colleges that was a failure by the previous administration. That's it. To replace something that was disastrous, Honorable Speaker. On the tourism sector, Honorable Speaker, globally, international arrivals are estimated to have reached 80% of pre-pandemic levels in the first quarter of 2023, with over 230 million tourists having traveled, more than double the same period of 2022. For Fiji this year, Honorable Speaker, we have had 5 consecutive months of year-on-year growth compared to 2019. That means from January to May, we got more visitors than we did in the same months pre-COVID. Sectoral performances, although varied, reflect a recovery in the domestic economy. But where we are today is a direct result of tourism. The perception remains clear. The tourism industry is what will take us through the next few years. When tourists come and spend money, that not only fits into the hotel's bottom line or to government's tax revenue, it goes into the pockets of the taxi driver who picked them from the airport, from the farmer who sold 20 kgs of tomatoes to a restaurant, who then invests in the children's education. It is not a standalone sector, Honorable Speaker. It is central. It supports agriculture, fisheries, construction, manufacturing, creative arts, and etc. We need to view tourism as an engine that can support other socio-economic sectors with a focus on opportunities. Mr. Speaker, sir, as Assistant Minister, Honorable Mbanivalu shared, what businesses and the private sector need more than anything for business continuity is consistency and confidence. Mr. Speaker, sir, in terms of the Ministry's allocation, in the 2023-2024 national budget, the Ministry of Tourism and Civil Aviation is allocated a total budget of $52.3 million. The big ticket items include tourism Fiji marketing, $30 million, and operations, 7, Civil Aviation Authority of Fiji, $5 million, domestic air subsidy, $1.9 million, and Vulnerable Tourism Development Program, $5 million. Mr. Speaker, sir, the tourism sector is a sector that has, over the years, contributed to 40% of our national GDP, creating more jobs directly and indirectly than any other sector. So to support a sector as crucial to the Fiji economy as tourism requires greater government support. Mr. Speaker, sir, by establishing a dedicated ministry, we are giving the industry the support and recognition they deserve. When I joined 6 months ago, Honorable Speaker, we had a combined staff complement of about 10. Despite this limitation, we have managed to deliver key programs. These two departments, Tourism and Civil Aviation, were previously under already huge portfolios where they were almost invisible. In this budget, we will fix that. Tourism, Honorable Speaker, was under the Ministry of Commerce, Trade, Tourism and Transport. It was merely a department among 10 others. Tourism. And that's the industry that is contributing 40% to GDP. It was hidden away amongst 10 other departments in a ministry. The coalition government gave recognition to tourism and set up the Tourism Ministry and Civil Aviation on its own, Honorable Speaker. Mr. Speaker, sir, with this increased budget, we will ensure to do more and deliver better services to our people. On community focus, Mr. Speaker, the ministry is allocated $105,000 for beefing up its engagements with the industry and with communities, $100,000 for tourism consultation, and $5,000 for tourism awareness. In the new financial year, the ministry will look closer with the communities who have shown willingness and ability to be part of the tourism industry. For starts, we have reinstated the position of Rokutu Saravanua, who has already been instrumental in creating better understanding and support systems with Itoke communities. We will work with development partners to look more seriously at how we can connect farmers to hotels. We will work with villages who have natural assets like waterfalls, farms, and culture and traditions, so that we not only disperse the benefits of tourism, but diversify our tourism product offering. On one level, Honorable Speaker, for years, we spoke about diversifying and spreading the tourism dollar. But in the past decade, we have made no real measurable progress. Tourism is still concentrated from the Coral Coast to Nadi, the outer islands, and in Suva. Mr. Speaker, another undertaking of the ministry in the new financial year is the implementation of the Tourism Development and Vulnerable Program. This was recently approved by the World Bank of Executive Directors. The program is valued at $200 million US, spread over 10 years, essentially looking at the sustainable economic growth of the vulnerable economy as well as Taviuni through destination development, investments in resilient infrastructure, and essential services, and improved tourism enabling environment, and growing institutional capacity. Mr. Speaker, sir, within the next few months, we will begin the first phase of implementation that will run from 1 to 6 years at the value of $61.5 million US. In this phase, we will implement critical projects to improve access and climate resilience of essential services, such as drainage, sewage, and transport infrastructure. This includes the Lambasa and Sabo domestic airports, as well as an upgrade to the 95-kilometer road connecting the two towns. On tourism, Fiji, Mr. Speaker, a key role of the ministry is to promote Fiji as a tourism destination. In the 2023-2024 financial year, Tourism Fiji, our marketing arm, is allocated an increased marketing budget of $30 million from $22 million. Mr. Speaker, sir, restoring Tourism Fiji's budget is not with the intention to return how things were 3 years ago. It takes into account much stronger competition now, especially with Asian markets that are cheaper, such as Thailand, Malaysia, the Philippines, or the Pacific, now fully open. In the last financial year, the marketing budget was $22 million, which is when Tourism Fiji began its marketing activities more heavily. At this time, not all markets are open, such as Japan and China. With this budget, Mr. Speaker, sir, Tourism Fiji will focus marketing activities across our key markets: Australia, New Zealand, North America, Europe, UK, Greater China, Hong Kong, India, Singapore, Japan, and the Pacific. In line with FijiOA's connectivity plans, we will also create brand presence in the new markets such as Korea and Canada. Mr. Speaker, sir, FijiOA has already restored along the RAC routes to its 22 destinations with plans to explore more routes. At this point, I would like to acknowledge FijiOA, who created history by being recognized as the Skytrax best airline in Australia and the Pacific. Mr. Speaker, sir, in this financial year, Tourism Fiji is partnering with FijiOA, launched the Fiji Where Happiness Comes Naturally campaign. In the new financial year, the campaign will be more heavily promoted to bring our brand out our brand values. Additionally, new strategic initiatives will be delivered by Tourism Fiji, such as Loloma Hour, a project to talk about cultural and environmental respect when visitors come to Fiji, and capitalizing on transit visitor. It is expected that this will result in around 2,000 to 5,000 visitors per month, staying over for 3 nights and spending in the local economy. Mr. Speaker, sir, these marketing efforts will be supported by an operational budget of $7 million. Mr. Speaker, sir, in addition to the allocation of $5 million to the Civil Aviation Authority of Fiji, we will continue our domestic air services subsidy with a budget of $1.9 million in the new budget. In the previous administration, Honorable Speaker, civil aviation came under the Solicitor General. It was hidden away somewhere, Honorable Speaker. This very key part of the tourism equation was hidden away under Solicitor General, Honorable Speaker. And the board did not even function, Honorable Speaker. It has all been restored, Honorable Speaker, with the proper resources. On the air service subsidy, this to ensure that uneconomical air routes of Lakemba, Vivia, Moala, Bunambalabu, Koro, Ngau, Kantabon, Rotuma, and possibly new routes such as Onilau are catered for and connected. Mr. Speaker, sir, we are on the right track here. We know this because as the Minister of Finance shared this budget was not prepared within the walls of the top floor of Subabu House. It was shaped on the most urgent needs of our people, from cost of living to access to better infrastructure and services. It was shaped on the expert opinions of the private sector and independent committees such as the Fiscal Review Committee. And more importantly, it was shaped not only to keep our government ministers and people happy for the new financial year alone, but to build a strong foundation for the years to come. At this point, I would like to acknowledge the re-establishment of the Cabinet Subcommittee on the budget, led by the Honorable Prime Minister and my fellow Deputy Prime Ministers, where we collectively contribute to the finalization of the budget. Honorable Speaker, I fully support the 2023-2024 national budget. Thank you.
I thank the Honorable Deputy Prime Minister for his contribution.